Imagine you have just joined a retail company as data analyst. Your manager shares this sample superstore dataset containing thousands of sales record and asks you four questions before the next meeting. Which orders generated the highest sales? Show me only the orders from the West region. Ensure employees can select only valid customer segments while entering new data, and highlight all orders that are making a loss. At first glance, this spreadsheet looks overwhelming. 100 or even 1000 of rows, but a professional data analyst does not search through the data manually. Instead, they use powerful spreadsheet operation or tools that answers these questions in seconds. In today's lecture, we'll use the real business data set to learn sorting, filtering, data validation, and conditional formatting in Google Sheets. So let's get started. So welcome back to the complete data analytics course. In the previous lecture, we have learned how to work with the spreadsheet and manage data. Today we'll use a real world retail data set to organize the information, focus on specific records, reduce data entry errors, and identify the important business insights. These four features are among the most frequently used tools by data analysts. So let's first start with sorting. Now if you look this data set, this is sample superstore data set. First of all, you see here that again it become a bit difficult for me to read this data. One thing I can do again, I hope you remember that, we'll select the data, we'll go to edit, we go to the option that we'll go to the format and we'll do the wrapping of data. That is one thing I can do, right? Okay, but one more option is there. If you want to expand, if you know that the description is not too extended or too large, right? So I'll select the entire data. How? I'll click anywhere on the cell, Control A. This selects the entire data, but I want to select the entire worksheet. Okay, so with Control A, it has selected the data in that sheet, but I want to select the entire sheet, even the cells where this data is not present. So I'll press Control A once again, right? Okay, so I'll click anywhere, Control A, I'll select the entire data now, right? So I'll press Shift, I'll take my mouse to the respective column, and you see where two columns are adjacent, there is an intersection point. So I'll double click on there, right? So what will happen? You see all the tabs get expanded and I'll be able to see this data clear and nice view, right? Okay, so this is one basic operation that you can do for better visualization of your data. So coming back to the point, we were talking about sorting, right? So the question is, suppose your manager asks you to show me the highest value orders. So instead of scanning it one by one, we'll do sort the data, right? Okay, so for that, if I want to find the highest value orders, then I need to refer it to the sales column, from where I can get to know which one has generated the highest sale. I'll be able to get that, right? So for that, instead of searching one by one manually, I'll go to the data tab, right? I'll click over there, and what we'll do, we are going to sort it, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to sort it, right? But in order to sort the data present in this sheet, you have given the option you want to sort by column O, A to Z or Z to A. This means ascending order, this means descending order, right? But as I would like to apply it to the only sales, this, right? Okay, I'll select this data. You can also see there is an option over there, right? As you go to this column, this R, you see there is a drop down. I click on that. You see here the mention is sort sheets A to Z or Z to A. So I'll choose Z to A. Now it has sorted the data in the descending order. That means I'll get the reference of the product having or order having highest sale, generated highest sale at the top of this, right? So I think This is very easy to understand. So immediately the largest sales appear at the top by sorting the data, right? So the answer would be uh, this particular data, that where shipment mode standard class, segment home office, this is the customer name, this is the order ID, city, state, province, category, product ID, right? Subcategory related to machines, product name is this, has generated highest sales. Okay, so I got it. I just got the answer neat and clean, and with just one step sorting the data. I can even get that to find which has generated highest quantity, right? Okay, there are multiple orders having the highest quantity which were sold. Even I can do to find the smallest one also, right? See, this is just a 1 minute task. Okay, with that we need not to search manually, we can just sort it. And even we have the provision that if I want that I want to save the data, I can also do one thing. I can even sort the data of that state wise, city wise with alphabet order also. It's not only applicable to um, the number formats which are there, even on the namings also that we can do, right? Okay, so this is one thing which is very good related to that. We'll be able to apply that, right? Okay, this is sorting, but there's another one we have refers to filtering, right? I hope you also remember the other question, right, that we look to find the answer. uh, that means if I just want to know about a specific groups of the records, right? Okay, the simply I can just look on that, right? Like for example, show me the orders only from the west region, right? Okay, so this is the region. You can see we have different regions mentioned here, but I only want to show the records of west region, right? So what I can do, I can select this first row having the column names, and I'll do what? Yes, I can go to the, like, in the menu also the option is there, and even from the data tab, right? If you go to the data tab, you can create a filter over there, and this option is also present here where you can create a filter, right? Shortcut. Okay, so I'll click over there. I want to create a filter. As soon as you see the columns names got highlighted and we have got a drop down in that. Perfect. So I'll click over there, and I don't want to sort it. I want to filter it, right? In order to get the data of only west region, right? So I'll clear everything and I'll select only the west one. Okay, so I'll click OK, and you see these are all the records from the west region. We can select multiple regions also. I can do multiple selection also. That's totally fine. And this is what we can apply a data where which is in the form of this text data where we have to apply the filter. And even we can apply the filter on the data uh, which is on the numbers also, right? For example, I want to show the records of only those products where quantity sold was more than 10, let's suppose, right? Okay, so I can even apply it by filter by condition also, right? That if any of the cell where data is empty or not empty, text contain this specific word or not, it starts with this, it ends with this, is there any date before, after, the value greater than, less than, equals to, not equals to, that is also we can apply, right? So I want to show the data of the products having quantity more than 10, right? So I can click on this filter by condition, because here we are talking about number, so we have to do comparison. So greater than, I'll say value 10, right? And then I just click OK. Now you see I am showing the records of only those products which were sold with the quantity more than 10, right? That is what the power of sorting and filtering it, with which it become quite easy to work and handle with that, right? Okay, so I hope it makes sense, easy to understand. Yes, we can apply anywhere, right? This sorting filtering, it just with a single step, instead of manually searching, we can easily find it out, right? Then apart from this, after sorting and filtering, there is one more thing. We have data validation, right? uh, as already mentioned that in the question, that we want, imagine a team member needs to add new records, and if you see this segment column, right, where we have different segments, that we can see consumer, corporate and home office, right? Now let's suppose uh, some new employees enter the record, and we want that all of these employees will always use only these three categories to enter, because sometimes it happens that some, instead of like here it's written, for example here it's written consumer, right? So sometimes it happens that somebody write the name will start with a small c, right? Or instead of somebody by mistake accidentally skip any of the alphabet, right? Then it will be very difficult for us, because until unless the data is not clean and it's not consistent, it becomes very difficult for us to perform analysis, right? For example, if I'll be applying filtering and showing the record of consumer, and somebody entered the name of the consumer segment like this, now this entry will not show in the consumer segment, right? Then it becomes quite difficult for us to handle. This is why we want the data to be consistent. So for that, to avoid this, uh, we can do one thing called as data validation, right? So this is also available. So we'll go to the data, and you see here one option which is there called as data validation, right? Okay. So you select the column where you want to apply, right? Okay. You go to data validation. Then if you see, even if from there also you might can see, I think option is there. No. Okay. No problem. So I can see the data validation rules. So apply to range, which range I want to apply? I want to apply this entire range, right? Okay, that I can show. So orders of this H range, right, which I want to apply. Okay, so let me just do one thing. Let me just select the range, right? Okay, I'll select this from here till last. So this is 6300, I guess so. Lost. But let me just remove all the filters first of all, right? Because we already have applied, right? So let me just select everything. Let me just remove this filter, right? Okay. So now let me go to this segment, right? Okay. And I'll select this drop down, and I'll apply data validation. Yes, this shortcut is also there, right? So values containing one from the list, right? I would like to apply the rule, right? Okay, that it can only have values consumer, corporate, home office. This is my header, right? I don't want to include that. So in the drop down, so no, we cannot apply multiple selections, only one is applicable, so we are done, right? Okay, so now the same rule we can even apply anywhere, right? Okay, so the data validation is applied. Now here, if I'll say, if I'll copy this and I'll say I want to add more rows, okay, more rows, you see here the data validation is already applied to this column, right? Okay, I think you can clearly see that. Now the point is, if somebody, let's suppose me, I want to do an entry, and I'll do the entry of here consumer, right? I'll by mistake, so it says you have a problem here, the rules are applied, so I'll have to select this. So in this way, with data validation, your data will be consistent, right? Okay, you can clearly see that. Okay, so I am not allowed to write any wrong name, so it will not let me enter any of those values, right? Okay, perfect. And after that, there's one more thing apart from data validation that we use is conditional formatting, which we'll see in the next lecture, right? Okay, so I hope that in it's understandable, quite understandable, and all things that we have learned in this lecture. So if you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, to the Mindexcite and share it with anyone beginning their journey in data analytics. I'll see you in the next lecture. So follow Mindexcite for more videos. Thank you.